How you doing, people? Robert here, AKA Robess, Anti-Corruption Scotland. I'm going to do this video. It relates to the unlawful council tax, right? And the information you're about to hear exposes this to the highest level, and it exposes the process being used against the men, the sovereign men and women in the lands of Scotland. And it's not very nice, people, how they do this, because it's all based in constructive fraud, criminal conversion, right? And identity theft of the name, plus the fact it relates to person, something that the men and women are not, right? And they better start realising this, because this is what's causing problems. The person's status, that's your problem in your life. I'm assisting a woman right now, people, with council tax, and I've told her to draft up a notice because she's getting bothered with the council, the entity known as council, and sheriff officers. So this is what we've done, right? And we're still going ahead with this. We're just waiting to see what they're going to do next. I've told her to put notice on the letter, all caps name, notice. For the attention of Fiona Smith, the sheriff clerk. She's the sheriff clerk in Paisley Sheriff Court, people, in the civil department. She's the head clerk, right? That's why we wrote to this woman direct. And it says, I require a subject access request relating to a Summary 1 application pertaining to my name and address as follows. So this is how we play the game, right? She's gave the name, it's the old capital name, and she's gave her address. Then she's asked, please can you verify that a Summary 1 relating to the information above, this is relation in regards the name and address. Please also confirm when the Summary 1 was applied for and granted. The alleged claimant is Renfrewshire Council, and the alleged warrant was applied for by Walker and Love. The council tax reference is blah 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 blah, right? And the amount is for over £1,200, people. Can you please confirm if there is a Summary 1 relating to this? Thank you. And the woman's put her name, right? We've got a response back from them, but it's not the same sheriff clerk we wrote to. Somebody else, we can't see their name because it's a squiggle line, which, you know, this is how they escape liability, people. The answer is your letter subject access request for Summary 1. I write in regards to the letter received by Paisley Sheriff Court on the February the 16th, 2024, which I have enclosed. Unfortunately, this is not a request that the court are able to fulfil. This is due to the Summary 1 and how the procedure works. How it works is if the council apply to the court for a Summary 1 by submitting to us a large spiral bound folder that contains the names of hundreds of individuals in arrears for their council tax payments. As there is so many names in the book, only the first name is noted. Do you hear that, people? One name is noted on our system when they register for the warrants, right? Remember, there's only one warrant, people, because they don't go through the full rigmarole, everybody, i.e. Renfrewshire Council v. Joe Blogs or others, right? We do not keep a copy of the book, and once it has been signed by the sheriff, it is returned to the council. So that's why there is no record in the court, people, because they're hiding the fraud, and this is what you people have to understand. Accordingly, we have no way of knowing when Renfrewshire Council has applied for the Summary 1 against you. You is a fictitious title, people. It means nothing. This is how they draw you into the legal and catch you. What you need to do is contact Renfrewshire Council to request this information. Bearing in mind, there is no man or woman called Renfrewshire Council. This is again how they escape liability. And you people better get the understanding of what's going on here with the words. I'm going to do another couple of parts of this to educate you, alright, to a higher level so you know what's really going on. And it's up to you to pay attention. And it's up to you if you don't want to pay attention. I'm not giving you the information how this works and how you can fight back, okay? Walker and Love are sheriff officers who are enforcing Summary 1s that Renfrewshire Council have applied to the court for and have been handed to the sheriff officers. Walker and Love will only know the information that has been passed on to them, which is why you will need to contact Renfrewshire Council, who can provide you with the information you are looking for, being the date the Summary 1 was applied for and on what date it was granted by Paisley Sheriff Court. Now this is the other point here, people. This was not granted by Paisley Sheriff Court. This is granted by a man or a woman sitting on the bench representing Glasgow Sheriff Court. Their name is not on it either. So this is what you have to understand, right? This is all fraud at the highest level. Your clerks of the court, the sheriff officers and the men and women acting in capacity as sheriffs are complicit in a major fraud, perjury, extortion and coercion, right? And they're stealing after sovereign people, and it needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. Now, as I said, we're waiting to see what's going to happen next. We've got the information we need. We know that they can't supply us somebody we want, because as you've heard in the letter, they go by the very first name on the list. So that means there's only one somebody want. And the reason it's fraudulent is because if every individual owes a debt, it has to be an independent somebody want, right? And at the same time, they only go by the legislation in 1992 Finance Government Act. It's a done deal. As soon as that act comes up in that section, and that act comes up, the warrant's granted. Whether you owe the debt or not, you don't get the opportunity to prove you do or don't. You don't get the opportunity to prove you owe the amount or you don't, right? If if the man or woman owes £1,000 for the legal person, and they turn around and say you owe £2,000, £2,000 as you owe. And the other thing to remember, there's only one payment for this somebody want, people. Say for instance, in an example, don't quote me on this, £78. Well, that £78 goes to all these 100 peoples individually. So you think of the money they're raking in for one payment, right? It's extortion, people. And it's fraud. Right words and conduct to deceive and defraud, right? It's terrible what's going on here, and the people can't see it, right? The people just can't see it. You have to waken up. Now, when people get a letter from sheriff officers telling them for the legal person that a summary warrant has been granted against them, what happens? It doesn't matter what area, right? Jurisdiction, Glasgow, Paisley, Greenock, Falkirk, etc., etc. The man or woman has to do exactly this, right? Write a notice in all caps, right? For the attention of the sheriff clerk, and every court's got one of them. You'll find them on the websites of the courts, right? And you tell them that you're making a subject access request to see if there's a summary warrant being granted against yourself. It doesn't matter about the name. The man and woman are getting held surety for a person. It doesn't matter how it works. You can use the all caps name or whatever name. This is where you expose the fraud, right? And what you do, you're playing the game and get the information that you require. So pay attention. As I says, you're doing a subject access request. That means that you're making a request for information relating to the fiction, even though it's attached to the man or woman. So be clear on this, what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to make it simple, people, right? And then what you've got to do is you give the, whatever name it is, the format, need to be the all caps, or the capital R for Robert, lowercase, capital S for Sproul, lowercase. You can use that name depending on the names of the document, right? Because you use two formats every time they write to the man or woman, right? Then you ask them, can you verify if there's a warrant relating to the information above? The date the summary warrant was applied for and the date it was granted. And you'll probably get the same response. People say just ignore it, right? That's not the way it works, people, because they're getting into your bank account, stealing half all the time, and they're getting away with it because you don't know how to deal with this. And in that TikTok and everywhere else, there's a lot of misinformation, and people are falling into that because I've been watching websites, and people are still writing to these websites and asking them, they've got this letter, how do they deal with it? Well, if the information is that concrete, why can they not deal with the information they previously got? That's a big question you've got to ask. This information I'm verifying under a charge of perjury, right, in any court jurisdiction in the lands of Scotland, England, or Wales, including the Court of Session or Supreme Court or beyond, right, is true and accurate. This is how you deal with this, people. You've got to find out. That way, if they come back to you and say, I've had a few people saying there's no summary warrant when we've done their responses. They've said they can't find it on the system. That means there is no summary warrant. And if there is no summary warrant, the sheriff officers are lying and committing fraud, right? And you have to attend to this. Listen, people, I'm going down a couple of parts of this to explain some word trickery and stuff to educate you, right? Please share this video far and wide and make it viral. It's important that this information gets out there, and this is relevant to the people of Scotland, the lands of Scotland, and it can be done the same way in any jurisdiction. The sheriff clerk or whatever they're called in the jurisdiction, subject access request. Okay, people? Again, please make this viral. It's important information that you'll ever get in Scotland, right? Take care, be safe, and I'll speak to you soon. Have a good day, people.